Today we have another reading from the Spirituality of Imperfection. Today's reading is on the essential nature of error, flaw, and the experience of torn to pieceshood. Baseball teaches us, or has taught most of us, how to deal with failure. Failure is the norm in baseball, and precisely because we have failed, we hold in high regard those who fail less often. Those who hit safely in 1 out of 3 chances become star players. I also find it fascinating that baseball considers errors to be part of the game, part of its rigorous truth. Discovering the spirituality in the game of baseball is not so strange as it sounds. For literally thousands of years, sages and saints have explored the ordinary and everyday in the attempt to understand the extraordinary and divine. The ritual of the Japanese tea ceremony, simply carrying and serving tea, is a profound spiritual exercise. The posture of kneeling in prayer conveys acceptance and mindfulness. Standing up in a crowded room and saying, "My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic," calls forth the spiritual realities of humility, gratitude, tolerance, and forgiveness. Spirituality may take on many forms, and all spiritualities do not look on failure and imperfection in the same way. But through the centuries, a recurring spiritual theme has emerged, one that is more sensitive to the earthly concerns than to heavenly hopes. This spirituality, the spirituality of imperfection, is concerned with what in the human being is irrevocable and immutable, the essential imperfection, the basic and inherent flaws of being human. Errors, of course, are part of the game. They are part of our truth as human beings. To deny our errors is to deny ourself. For to be human is to be imperfect, to be somehow error-prone. To be human is to ask unanswerable questions, but to persist in asking them. To be broken and ache for wholeness. To hurt and to try to find a way to healing through the hurt. To be human is to embody a paradox, for according to that ancient vision we are less than the gods, more than the beasts, and yet somehow also both. We are not everything, but neither are we nothing. Spirituality is discovered in that place between paradox's extremes, for there we confront our helplessness and our powerlessness, our woundedness. In seeking to understand our limitations, we seek not only an easing of our pain, but an understanding of what it means to hurt and what it means to be healed. Spirituality begins with the acceptance that our fractured being, our imperfection, simply is. Spirituality accepts that if a thing is worth doing, it is worth doing badly. Rabbi Zusia said, "In the coming world they will not ask me, 'Why were you not Moses?' They will ask me, 'Why were you not Zusia?'" The spirituality of imperfection speaks to those who seek meaning in the absurd, peace within the chaos, light within the darkness, joy within the suffering, without denying the reality and even the necessity of absurdity, chaos, darkness, and suffering. This is not a spirituality for the saints or the gods, but for people who suffer from what the philosopher-psychologist William James called torn to pieceshood. We have all known that experience, for to be human is to feel at times divided, fractured, pulled in a dozen directions, and to yearn for serenity, for some healing of our torn to pieceshood. The spirituality of imperfection relates the continuing story of a spirituality that speaks to both the inevitability of pain and the possibility of healing within the pain. It is a spirituality more interested in questions than in answers, more a journey toward humility than a struggle for perfection. The spirituality of imperfection begins with the recognition that trying to be perfect is the most tragic human mistake. In direct contradiction of the serpent's promise in Eden's garden, the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous suggests, first of all, we had to quit playing God. According to the way of life that flows from this insight, it is only by ceasing to play God, by coming to terms with errors and shortcomings, and by accepting the inability to control every aspect of their lives, that alcoholics, or any human beings, can find the peace and serenity that alcohol or other drugs, or sex, money, material possessions, power or privilege always promise, but never deliver.